teaches our 5 strategies for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't helping creative entrepreneurs just like you create profitable e-commerce businesses, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you, the creative, can take to make money in your e-commerce business on Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to achieving freedom with your time, location, and finances.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. And we're here to give you the tools you need to make your dreams happen. Let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elka.
And Jen, and in this episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, we are going to talk to you about how to get to your first 5K on Zazzle. And this is a really exciting topic because all of us want to earn more money on Zazzle, and 5K is a really great goal, and it's super achievable too, only if you know exactly what you need to do in terms of how to get there.
Yeah, and I think there's a couple of things. We're going to talk about mindset. We're going to talk about practically how can you physically get there, and also just understanding that you're allowed to make that much money and that people do make that much money every single month in the Zazzle space, and that we just have to realize that we can get there. Yeah. And then once we do that, then we can move forward and actually start to get to consistent 5K months, not just our first 5K month.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Well, when we first started out on Zazzle, we had this misconception of how hard it was to actually earn a certain amount of money. And 5K sounded like a huge and big deal.
Yeah.
And it felt unachievable. But it was only until that we actually found out that, we just had to be in the right mindset and understand that 5K actually isn't that much harder than earning $100 on Zazzle. It's just knowing the right things and having the right products in place in your Zazzle store and understanding how your store works and actually setting out achievable goals for you based on the systems that you have in place in your Zazzle store with your products. And you need to have a reality check. It's kind of hard for us to understand sometimes when we're by ourselves as online entrepreneurs, as solopreneurs, to have sort of a medium or someone else to compare ourselves to in terms of an earning perspective. And when we, come out, Elka and myself, to say that we earn that amount of money and it's actually achievable, then maybe that will help you understand that it is possible for you. It's just that you have to be in the right mindset for that to happen.
Yeah, you almost have to make a mindset shift.
Yeah.
Because maybe this is the first time you've heard that people do make that much money every month, and you were happy with your, whatever you're making now. Or maybe you weren't happy, but you just wondered if it was possible. So this is one of the things we're going to really work on today.
Yeah. And I remember when I first started out on Zazzle and I was making a couple $100 and I was super happy. And you too as well. When you first earned that $100, it was a huge jump from the first couple of cents that we made, because our first sales were literally 29 cents and maybe 50 cents. And we remember those first sales. Yeah.
Yeah. 29 cents. I was just jumping for joy because I made 29 cents. So it's not because I made a lot of money, but because I realized that I figured out how things work on Zazzle and I got my first sale, which means I can make more sales, right?
Yeah. That first 29 cents, as you said, it wasn't the monetary value. It was the fact that you can do this and you can make it work and you actually made a sale. Someone bought one of your products.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets the ball rolling and has momentum. And afterwards, when you start making your first couple $100, then you're like, this is actually quite easy. I just need to figure out how things work and how to keep this going.
Yeah, how to scale.
Yeah. But I think for some reason, some Zazzle designers think from going from $100 to thousands of dollars a month is a huge difference. And that's where some people get scared and they get nervous because they don't know if they're doing things right. And they actually don't think it's possible, because I was in that position, definitely. And I only got into the position where I understood that it was possible when I realized that, first of all, A, people were making money like that. And that was actually Elka. She started making thousands of dollars before I did. And then B, that there were certain systems to have in place and strategies to put in place that helped those things get into actual like momentum and movement.
Hmm. Yeah. So besides the mindset, there has to be an action plan for sure. But let's go back to the mindset just for a minute. Like, keep in mind that you're building something very different than maybe what you were used to, and even what you were told is possible for you to earn using your creativity, let alone working online in a business that may be something completely different and new to you. And you're hearing a whole bunch of different things. Like, you hear some people making like a gazillion dollars on Amazon or Shopify or something like that. You know, it's easy, and they're standing in front of their Lamborghini. Well, Zazzle's not like that. Zazzle's more of a long-term turtle pace, different option for you rather than the quick fix of a huge amount and then maybe nothing. So Jen and I, we've been on Zazzle for over 13 years, and we started out slow, but we kept going and going. And as we kept going, we got stronger and stronger. And it didn't just like double, it went exponentially once we got our systems in place and knew exactly how to position our inventory so that we can make those sales consistently. And then actually keep that level of like whatever we want to make, like whether it's 5,000, 10,000, and even like 20,000, which is, it has been done. We have done it. Then you actually realize, oh, okay, so A, it's possible, but B, I just need to put things in place in order for this to happen. I have to be really realistic about what it is that I need, or in this case, what you need to get that amount of money flowing into your Zazzle account.
Yeah. And not coming to, but speaking more on the mindset is that when you have a goal, for example, like 5K in your mind, and you're in the mindset that you know that it's possible. Like you've heard other people that they've made that amount of money, and you've read success stories from our students, and you've seen other Zazzle designers be successful in that in terms of earning money. Then the next shift is where you actually have to understand that yes, it's possible, but it's not just only your dream. It's actually something that you can make into a reality because, a lot of us think about, oh, I really want that $1 million house, or I really want that Lamborghini. Like you said, it's something that's visually in our mind and that we have our heart set out to get at some point. But a lot of the time we actually don't take the right steps or make sure that the right things are in place.
Yeah,
And
we're dreaming constantly rather than making a goal and putting action steps into place in order to make it happen for you.
Yeah, so that's where your second reality check comes in. You say, okay, 5,000 is achievable, but what exactly does that mean? Like break it down into smaller, digestible bits so that you understand that every single day or every single week you have to be doing a certain amount of things or earning a certain amount of money for that to actually be possible. And I think that it's also a really good idea for you to take that amount and break it down into smaller chunks. Like what we want to do an exercise with you right now is for you to actually realize, what does 5K a month mean, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So divide $5,000 because that's what 5K is. And that's the take home that you would make. So that's a combination of your royalties and your referrals. But whatever Zazzle's going to pay you out for the month, that's what we're going to consider as our 5K. So divide that by 30 as a typical average month in number of days, and you will get 167. So that means that you have to make $167 every single day of the month in order to reach the 5,000. Obviously, you could make a little bit more today, then you make a little bit more tomorrow or less, but it averages out to about $167 per day. So now look at the items that you have in your store and what would they generate for you in terms of income? Like what's your royalty? What's your possible referral when you sell one of these, right? So
I just want to jump in and say
okay.
right now, it doesn't actually matter on what you're making right now.
Yes.
Right? You want to actually assess what type of products you have in your store that could possibly be for sale or be sold, right?
Yeah. And Zazzle's such a great place where you can make another product tomorrow or today and have the opportunity to sell something. So you always have the ability to shift and add more products to create this inventory that's going to be required for you to have that much sell so that you can get that much money in payout from Zazzle for your monthly payout. So let's, like, what do we want to do initially is say, okay, so $167 per day. How much do you have to sell for that? Let's take something very easy that's around a $2 payout, like a mug or a t-shirt. And if you do the math, which is 167 divided by 2, so you kind of start to get a little scared because it's around 82 or 83 items that are going to pay you out $2 per sale. So then you go, oh my gosh, that's a lot of sales, right? But then you realize there's other products out on Zazzle that don't require you to sell 82 in order to make 167 per day. And that's where we're going to get into in a minute. But first, we want to just ask you to think about this. Dividing the number to get to that 167 per day, do you think this is now too tough for you or too scary? And if it is, ask yourself, what's holding you back? Why do you think that? I know we actually made it tough by giving you that example. It's like 83 t-shirts. Come on, let's go sell those. And you go, I've never sold 83 t-shirts in my life. Well, I'll tell you a little story. I've actually only sold about 2 t-shirts in my entire Zazzle career, and I've made over 1.5 million take home. So you don't have to sell t-shirts. Now, if you want to sell t-shirts, and there are some, like if you wanted to do some sort of like runaway seller, like for politics right now with all this going on with Trump at the time of this recording, it's in the middle of the US elections, maybe one of those t-shirts will take off. I've actually know Zazzle designers who have had Democratic convention organizers and Republican convention organizers contact them and say, can they use the design that they just saw on the Zazzle t-shirt for their convention, and how many people go to those conventions. So you never really know, like we assume 83 is a lot or 82 is a lot, but what if something like that happens where a convention organizer comes to ask you about, can they use your t-shirt design and order in bulk? What kind of discount do you give? And it's like, really? The 10,000 order? Awesome. So make sure that you understand that there's so many possibilities out there, not just a single sale.
No, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
That's also another reality check where you want to get in and you, as you said, you can get in your own head and you said, I've never sold 83 t-shirts in my life. Maybe that will never happen for you, but maybe it will. And maybe it'll be a t-shirt, or maybe it'll be a mug, or maybe it'll be corporate business Christmas cards. Like there are so many other things that go on and other sales that happen that you as a Zazzle designer, when you first come on and log on to the homepage and you see all of these pretty beautiful pictures and photos of, you know, the products that are being sold and that are like supposedly trending and popular, there are so many other sales that go on in the back end that you don't even know about. So don't limit yourself and limit your possibilities based on what you already know right now. And we like to say the saying, you don't know what you don't know, because you actually don't know everything that goes on. So you have to be open, have a reality check, and be open with an open mindset to actually be receptive of these things that will happen to you. Yeah.
Receptive is a really good word, because whenever you feel like you're thinking about things that are limiting you, ask yourself, is this truly true? Or is it something that you are saying so that you are protective or safe, rather than deciding to give it a try? Especially on Zazzle, there's really no risk. The most you risk is the time you put into posting more products for sale. So that leads us into the actual posting and strategy of posting and promotion. And let's talk a little bit about that.
Have you heard about our newest program, the Z Supercharger, yet?
Are you a new or current Zazzle designer who's overwhelmed with what to do, frustrated with lack of sales, uncertain about what works, feeling icky about selling, and unsure how you can generate consistent sales in your Zazzle business?
The Z Supercharger is a brand new, never before offered way for you to receive consistent critiques from Zazzle experts on your designs, titles and tags, store categories, and collections. Increase your power to get to consistent 5K months faster on Zazzle with the Z Supercharger, which is specifically created to help you improve your design, SEO, and marketing skills.
This critiqued-based program is perfect for you if you want to receive feedback from us, Jen and Elka Clark, on your designs, titles and tags, store categories, and collections as you populate your Zazzle store to increase your power to get to consistent 5K months.
Head over to the show notes to grab the link and we'll see you in the Z Supercharger. Now let's get back to the show. Yeah. Okay. So when you first assess what you have in your Zazzle store right now and think about the amount of money and the amount of products that you earn and also would have to sell to make that money to earn 5K or $5,000 a month to get to your first 5K month, then you obviously have now jotted down some things that maybe you need to change. Maybe you need to actually assess what kind of products you like to sell. If you just have a store with keychains, you're going to have to sell a lot more in bulk than if you have a store that has a variety of different priced items in different sections of like different types of products, for example.
Yeah,
not
like
just
low and medium and high price products.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to keep going on that?
Oh, yeah, because everyone thinks that print-on-demand companies are basically companies that sell T-shirts and mugs, right? And that's a very low price point in terms of your return for your effort because you make somewhere, you set your royalty around 10 to 15%. And then that, if you just look at a mug or a t-shirt, that's around $15 to $20, then your actual income from that is going to be very low. It's going to be somewhere between $1.5 and $2. And so that'll take a lot more effort to sell 82 t-shirts to get to that 5K a month than if you had car mats or suitcases or what else is the
bed sheets, tapestries,
cell phone cases.
Yeah, there are even lamps, and there's like very high priced canvas prints, and there's a whole bunch of items on Zazzle and products that you can sell that aren't your typical, as you said, quote unquote, print on demand stereotypical products, which people think are mugs and t-shirts. But Zazzle offers so many amazing high quality and high priced items that you don't actually think about creating because they're just not in your reality, right? You're not in that zone of that you can create those things and actually sell higher priced items and earn a higher royalty.
The other thing that we think of as sellers initially is that maybe people wouldn't buy those because they're very expensive. And that's another mindset shift. A lot of this podcast is about mindset because they do sell. And people do buy them. And if you don't have them available in your Zazzle store, then how are you going to know if they sell?
Yeah.
And this has happened so often. It's like the Starbucks example. I'm just going to bring that into the whole equation here is because Starbucks you associate with selling coffee, right? Like they sell coffee after coffee, baristas, all that stuff, coffee culture. It's a place to go, right? And you would think that that's where they make their money. But if you look at the profits from them selling a cup of coffee, even though it's quite highly priced compared to some other coffee options that you have, it's still not their profit-making machine. Their profits come actually from all the accessories and higher priced items that they have for sale that are in the shelves on the outer edges of the whole thing that's happening with you standing in line, buying, making your order, and then taking it, waiting in the area where you have to pick up your order. In that meantime, you're looking in the shelves, you're seeing a coffee maker, you're seeing another, like a travel mug or coffee grounds, and that is actually where they make their profits. It's not so much on volume, which is what we were talking about with the 82 t-shirts, but it's on less volume, more profits. And that's where you want to get as well with your positioning that you're going to make in your Zazzle business to get to that first 5K month.
Yeah.
Okay. So Another thing that's really important is to understand that not only do you need products that are in all those price ranges, like low, medium, and high, but that you have a certain number of products so that you don't have to sell 82 copies of one t-shirt. You can sell multiple copy or multiple products with multiple designs on them, but in less quantity if you have a variety. So let's take an example. I put some numbers down here. So if you divide it up so that you use 20 products, we like the 80-20 rule. So 80% of your income is going to come from 20% of your products. And so if we just make that a number and we say 20 products out of every 100 are going to be our money makers. So let's take the first 20 that we made. Not that this is reality. You have to make a little bit more than 100 products. But let's just say that let's get 20 products that are really working well for us. Well, then actually each one of those only has to sell or give you $250 a month. Each of them has to sell $8, a little bit more than $8 a day. So this is a whole new level, right? Instead of 82 t-shirts, now 20 products have to make you $8 a day. And it's like, most of the products are somewhere between $2 to $10 in royalty. So if you have a nice variety between low, medium, and high products, then sometimes you only have to sell one product to make your $8 a day. Another time you have to sell two products to make your $8 a day, and you only have to do that 20 times. So if you look at it that way, then you realize, okay, this is good because now we're targeting 20 products rather than one product, creating that huge revenue that you want to make for the month.
Yeah. And then now you can actually take a big deep breath and say, wow, that's actually achievable and I can do that. Because at the beginning of this conversation, when you heard the number 82 t-shirts or 82 mugs or even 82 anything, that's a lot. But if you take 20 products and you only need to sell them for them to make $8 a day for you, then that's much more achievable and much more feasible for you too, to actually handle and create those products that work for you. And now this comes back full circle to understanding what you have in your Zazzle store right now, what you have that's being offered for sale, and if those products that you have in your store are actually working for you the way that you need them to be working for you. Because if you now understand that $5K a month actually means these calculations that we've created for you, or that are obviously very logical, but you've never looked at it that way. And you just said, yeah, $5K a month sounds awesome. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the work in. But we like to usually, we like to say we're going to do the work and we think we're working really hard, but it actually means that we have to look at it and see if we're working smarter. Because if we're not working smarter, but we're working really hard, we could be making 100 different products, but if you're making 100 different keychains and you're thinking that you're going to sell those and earn $5K a month, you actually have to do the calculations and realize that means I have to sell hundreds and hundreds of keychains a month because that's what I need to get my goal. And I'm giving you the example as keychains because it's a very low royalty amount. But a lot of Zazzle designers make products that give them a low royalty, and they don't actually understand that it has to become a whole bundle, and that whole bundle is what's going to give you your earnings at the end of the month. And we like to for some reason be also very hopeful that things are going to happen, and that we think that the work that we've done is just going to we're going to throw spaghetti at the wall and see if it sticks. And we like that
and that's
saying.
What we did initially, and that just didn't work.
Yeah, and so we've done that, and we've gone through that transition, and we realized in order to get to your first 5K month faster and actually understand what's going on, you really need to figure out what's going on with your products and figure out if the calculations will actually work out and if they're feasible for you and if they're going to actually happen during the month, or if you're just being very hopeful, thinking that something will work or hoping that something will work when it really actually might not, because it's something that's not very possible.
Yeah, it's being, unfortunately, a little bit unrealistic. Yeah. And it's like me going to the lottery counter every week and hoping that I'm going to win that $1 million prize, when it's not something that I've got under my control. It's just a chance, right? So when we as Zazzle designers put things up, we want to be more strategic and more intentional with what we offer for sale so that we have the best chances, even if there is still some unpredictability. But we want to be able to be in a position where we say, yep, this is actually going to give me the best chance possible. So that's what you need to do in terms of bringing products out for sale. But then once you get products starting to sell in your Zazzle store, watch them, see how they're doing. Are they selling once, or are they selling every month about 4 or 5 times? Or are they selling 100 times a month or 1,000 times a month? And once you start to see those patterns and you realize, okay, this product is actually generating X amount of the proportion of my 5,000 I want to get to, then you realize, okay, well, how do I get this product to either work more efficiently by giving me more money, more sales, or how do I replicate what's happening with this product and make it happen 20 more times so I can get my 5,000, because this one's obviously contributing a lot to my bottom line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So to recap.
Yeah, let's recap.
Getting to 5K months on Zazzle and getting to your first 5K month on Zazzle is probably easier than you think. And it is possible. But it takes work and it takes preparation and it takes an understanding of what is going on in your Zazzle store. And it takes an assessment of your products and recognizing which ones are going to work for you and do the calculations that we did here in the podcast, right?
Yeah. Well, you don't have to redo them. If you want to make 5,000, then you have to make $167 a day. But the main thing is what is your product suite giving you right now in terms of return and earnings per day? And if it isn't anywhere close to the 167, which I'm assuming, unless you're doing really, really well and making 5,000 already every month, then this is not the case. So then the action steps you need to take are figure out what it is that's already working for you somewhat, but not getting you to the full 167. Then make sure that you analyze what that product is. And is it a low, a medium, or a high price product? And how many of those would you have to sell typically in order to just even get to the 5,000, for example? And then make some decisions like, is that product something that you can expand on? Can you either make more sales with it, or can you replicate that sale that's happening for you consistently by using the same product, different design, different niche maybe, or different product, same design, same niche, or even a different use. So there's so many variations that you can just ask yourself based on what you're seeing in your own store, how you can proceed from here. Obviously, we do a lot more of this training in the Profit by Design Academy, which is our signature course, and any of the other trainings and coaching and mentoring that we do. But here's a really good summary of what we teach our students and our coaching clients. Because if you don't look at the actual reality of what's happening in your store and how, what has to happen in order for that to get to be possible, then unfortunately, we're just wishing. We're just buying those lottery tickets. And we don't want you to buy lottery tickets. We want you to be empowered. We want you to be in control. And so sometimes that means facing a little bit of reality, like, oh my gosh, it takes 82 t-shirt sales in order to make $5,000. I quit now. But then you realize there's other options. And then you can start to build up your product inventory so that you have somewhere between like 20 products or more that are generating that 5,000 for you. And you'll find that it's actually a lot easier than what you expected, which was a surprise for me. Was it the surprise for you?
It was very much a surprise for me.
Yeah.
And after I realized that, I was extremely excited to figure out how I could get to that point and to make it consistent. Because I think at the beginning of my Zazzle journey, I had a completely different mindset and I needed to make that shift.
Mm-hmm. And the shift is that you can do it. You just have to figure out how to do it. And usually the best way to do it is to ask someone who's already done it so that you can cut corners. Don't waste so much time. Don't be so frustrated, and get it done fast so you can start earning your first 5K quickly.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to The Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur with Jen and Elka Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to start and scale your Zazzle business so that you can have the passive online income to have location and time freedom to live your dream life.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more creative entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce business.
And don't forget to take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories and tag us at Miss Jen Clark and at Elka Clark. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's episode. See you back here next week.